you mentioned we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
And, I figured the first time I got to meet our special guest, I heard you introducing her.
Yes.
And so I thought that it would be wonderful if you could share a little something to warm us all up for our guest, and then because it just blew my mind when you introduced her last time.
Oh, got it. Well, I wished I'd had that introduction in my head, but I mean, am I saying the name or not saying the name?
You can do whatever you like.
Okay.
Because she's coming on just now, so.
Okay. Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, the guest that Tom is bringing on is a cherished friend and mentor of mine, and I would say that that's true for countless different people. The first time I heard, and her name is Mary Morrissey. She's been in the personal development industry for better than 4 decades, and has studied intensively those areas. And I think it's super important for me to have a mentor, because I want to be doing the best I can do, and Mary is definitely she's right up at the top. So and so the first time I heard Mary speak, I've told her this a few different times. I actually felt like what happened for me is that I went into a little bit of like an altered state, a little bit of a trance. I was kind of I was kind of hypnotized by what was taking place, not intentionally. It's like I could just feel myself shift, and what ended up happening is that the whole talk, that whole first time I heard her speak, I felt like I was listening to someone who was telling the truth with a capital T. And so I just Mary is she walks her talk, and she exudes love and truth, and I can't and wisdom, and I can't imagine anybody better than to have her come speak to your group now.
Oh, thank you so much, Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
Of
so
course.
Grateful. Hi, Mary.
You know how much I love you.
I love you too. Hi, Tom. Nice to be here.
Hi, how are you? Great to see you.
Great,
hey,
nice
so everybody, I just have to say something. Like the other day, I got a call from Mary that said that she could come and make it and be part of this with us. And then I had a phone conversation with her, and I got off the call, and I said to my daughter, "Do you know who I just talked to?" And she's like, Mary. And we had just watched one of her programs called Dream Builder, and we're doing it as a family. And our 10-year-old daughter immediately just saw the truth and the power and the love and compassion of Mary. And the reason I wanted to really have her come and join us is not only that she inspires our family, but I didn't want to end our mini series. I want to really allow this time, like we've all been talking, to be a new beginning. And I want her to help us learn how powerful we are and where we can go in the future. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm happy to be with each one of you.
Oh, it's so great to see you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of what's been going on, in your life and COVID-19 and how it's been playing a role?
Well, I live in California, so we were the first, I think, maybe among the first in the whole country to go into quarantine. So in terms of, just I have clients all over the world. As all of us have family, clients, people that we care deeply about, and just you can't be in this without feeling, Teilhard de Chardin, who wrote The Phenomena of Man, he said that the earth has not only an atmosphere, but a thoughtmosphere. And when you have billions of people who are frightened, you can walk in a room and 2 people have been fighting and they're not fighting anymore, but you can feel the energy of that. And when the world has been frightened and the world is frightened, there's an energy. So how do you keep your head above, notice that energy, but also be able to generate your own ability to think and feel in ways that are generative to you? Yes, we all spend a period of our time, you know, feeling all of these feelings. And Joan is the master in helping us know how to deal with unpleasant feelings. And there's another side to us. There's more to us than that. And I've spent the last 30 plus years in the field of transformation and helping people know how to make changes in their lives, lean into their dreams, and understand the art and the science of transformation. Lots of people want to change their lives, but the system that we all have access to by which it occurs is not that easy to find unless you know it. I'd like to just begin, Tom, tonight to just say, I know this wonderful community you're speaking to. I didn't just drop in knowing about transformation. I was diagnosed with a fatal kidney disease.
Right,
I was
right.
18 years old. I had got married. I got married pregnant in my late in high school. Got kicked out of high school because I was now pregnant. I went to finish my high school with pregnant girls and delinquent boys. My high school boyfriend had come home on spring break. I get pregnant. And now it's the following year. And my son had been born in December, and I graduated from that evening high school in May. And now it's July, and I'm in an intensive care ward in a Portland hospital diagnosed with fatal kidney disease. One kidney was totally destroyed with nephritis. The other kidney had 50% destruction, active nephritis.
Right.
And in 1967, no, there was not dialysis or transplants available, and this was a death sentence. And wonderful medical people, all very, very sad to tell this 18-year-old she's not going to be able to raise her son, that the best they can do for her is if we can get the blood toxin level in my body reduced enough to remove, so I can sustain the surgery to remove that right kidney,
Yep.
then maybe I'll have 6 months to live.
Wow.
And the night before the surgery, a woman walked in my room identifying herself as, I know we're using the term woo-woo tonight, so this will fit perfectly in that part of the story. Identifying herself as a chaplain, offering prayer for people who were having surgery the next day. She said she gets the list of the surgeries that are going to happen the next day in the order of their seriousness. My name was at the top of the list.
Oh boy.
And she asked me if I wanted someone to pray with me. The God of my upbringing was not a friendly place to go when you felt like you really screwed up. And I was sure I'd screwed up. I got kicked out of high school. My best friends' mothers wouldn't let my best friends see me anymore. And so but I was so scared. I have this little boy I want so much to raise or see. And I just said, please pray with me. She pulled her chair next to my bed and she did nothing that was anything I knew of as prayer. She talked to me. And she asked me, would you be willing to tell me what's been going on in your life the last year or two? Now that can be a much more standard question today in our medical community, that we understand that the vibration someone has been in, the story of their life, has a great deal to do with their immune system, how deeply they breathe, all kinds of things are part of that story. I knew nothing about this. I just told her my story, at the end of which she looked at me compassionately. And then she said, Mary, everything's created twice. I had no idea what she was talking about.
Right.
And then she said, you know this. Everybody knows it. Almost nobody knows the power of knowing this. And then she said, the bed you're laying on, the nightgown you're wearing, the sheet covering you, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, all this machinery you're hooked up to, first, it had to be a thought before it could be a thing. And then she said, you know this. So now that you're considering how everything starts with thought, could you, and she said, I hear your story. I hear how much you love your little boy, but I also hear in that story how much you've been hating yourself. You feel like you shamed yourself, you shamed your school, you shamed your family. And now that you're considering how everything is created twice, could you consider that there could be a correlation between that toxic thinking and the toxicity that is rampaging your body and threatening your very life? No, but this is before there was a mind-body clinic at Harvard Medical Teaching Center. I mean, this is 50 plus years ago. And nobody I knew thought this way. And so this was all happening very fast. You know, it was like, what? And then she said, could you believe that in the universe with, you know, infinite numbers of possibility, could you believe that there could be a possibility where you could get well? And nobody had even suggested that there could be a possibility.
Right.
And long before Max Talbot wrote Holographic Universe out of Stanford, or David Bohm or Sheldrake, any of this. So then she said, so if you could live, what would you do? And I said, well, if I could live, I would raise my little boy and I would become a teacher. I'd always wanted to be a teacher. And my plan had been, I saw getting pregnant as a detour for sure, and getting married young, but I had still planned to have my son and child and then go ahead and go to college and become a teacher. But now that was all completely, those hopes were gone. And then she said, okay, so you know that if you think embarrassing thoughts, your cheeks get red. And you know that if you think scary enough thoughts, your heart beats faster.
Yeah.
So now that we're considering, there could be a correlation between your self-loathing thoughts and this what's going on in your body. And she said, so here's what I want you to do. In the morning, they're going to do the surgery. They're going to remove that kidney. When you wake up from that, the first day, 2, 3, you're going to be focused on the pain that you're feeling and recovering. As that passes and you start to feel a little better, the mind is very much like a rubber band. And it will be, you're tempted to go down the well-worn paths of thinking that you always think. So those self-loathing thoughts are going to come back. When the self-loathing thought, you have notice, you've got to notice what you're noticing. Joan referred to this. In awareness, you have the feeling, but if you notice that you're having a feeling, you now have a part of you that isn't engaged who can notice it. Once you can notice what you're noticing, you could actually begin to actually steer your own ship. So I didn't know any of this. She just said, so here's what I want you to do. When a self-loathing thought comes, because we're going to take all that energy, Mary, and we're going to place it in that kidney that's going to get removed. Would you be willing to just pretend that could happen?
Right.
And then when you start to think a self-loathing thought, you say to that thought, no, that left with the kidney. And then immediately imagine you've got a little boy's hand in yours. He's 5 years old. You're walking up into a school and there's a kindergarten teacher and greeting your little boy, and he turns and hugs you. Feel that feeling. Notice that the moment that you start to feel the feeling, you have a resonance inside you. Then he goes into that little kindergarten class and you go down the hall, click, click, click with your heels around the corner, and there's your first classroom. Then fast forward in your mind, and you're sitting in a big auditorium or a great big stadium, and down on the ground are all these caps and gowns. And they call your son's name, and he walks across the stage and gets his diploma and waves it up. And you're feeling such pride and happiness and joy at his accomplishment and for you having played roles along the way to help him have this. And your teaching career is growing. Then fast forward in your mind and you're sitting in the front row of a wedding. And it's your son's wedding. And he's marrying the love of his life. And you're the mother of the groom. And your teaching career is flourishing. And I must have been Tom, I must have just been an unconscious competent.
Right.
Ultimately, I was doing what she said, but I wasn't aware enough to notice that I was really doing it. And within a couple of weeks, what happened is after the surgery, the doctor said to my family that was gathered, my young husband and my parents, that one kidney was totally destroyed with nephritis. The other is withered, 50% destroyed. We don't know how much time she's going to have. And within a couple of weeks, my numbers had stabilized. They were no longer descending. And in whatever way they measure it. And they said, maybe you're going to have a little longer than we thought. And so with certain protocols of getting into the urologist numerous times, several times a week, if you want to go home for a little while, you can. So I went to my parents' house, and my husband and son had been staying there so they could take care of my little boy. I went home in an ambulance. I was so weak, I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. But I did what I was doing, what she told me to do. And over time, my numbers not only stabilized, they slightly started to improve and improve and improve and improve. And to the point where one day we're coming home from the urologist and there's a community college. And I asked my mother, could you stop and just go get the catalog? And let me just look at the
What?
catalog
Oh, so
as if I could do this. And again, unconscious, confident in this. And then about 6 months, 5 or 6 months after this surgery, I'm sitting in a meeting with the urologist and the surgeon and the general GP that I had and some other people, and they're just scratching their heads saying, we have no science for what's happened with you. Your one
because
kidney
this is medically impossible, right?
Accordingly,
But apparently it's not.
we have no science for this, but
Yeah.
so we're going to put medical anomaly, and we don't know how long this will last, by the way. We don't know how long this will last. And so we're just going to put medical anomaly on this and, come back in 3 months, come back in 6, and eventually it was once a year, and then it was no more. And that was over 50 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Mary, if I may, sign me up for medical anomaly all day long with you.
Wouldn't we all love that? Wouldn't we all love that? Yeah, yeah. So I didn't really, I was young, I was busy, but several years later when I was getting my undergraduate work, things began to come together for me, and I got very, very interested in the science of transformation. This is, how does this occur that someone can have one set of results and literally change those results? Does it just happen to you? It just in the right place at the right time? Is luck real?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. It's the vibration we're coming from. And so my encouragement to all of us tonight, we're in a pandemic. We can't change that. But we can change how we're going to be in a pandemic so that not all our time is in sadness and resistance. And there's many, many things happening now, but even more importantly, and I believe, having worked with clients from all over the world and all walks of life, in the absence of a vision, your energy doesn't have, your soul force doesn't have any direction to move in. Every time you've felt progress in your life, it's because you had some kind of a vision for your life, whether it was get through med school and you harnessed your energy in service of something that you saw as life-giving, as something that was more life to you. That very power that breathes us is not just our heart. There's an energy that you and I live in and move in, and we didn't create ourselves. And life itself is seeking to express greater life by means of itself. That's what that virus is doing. It's wanting to live.
Right.
So it infiltrates and tries to, all of life is seeking to live. Life is pressing through a blade of grass today, seeking to be a better blade of grass. The difference between blades of grass and bushes and trees and you and me is that we have a choice. We can divert that energy. We can slow it down. I'll do it when it's convenient. I'll pay attention to what's really going on inside of me. And what happens is life itself then must show us signs of unlived life. And we develop symptoms to try to get our attention.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of like so many of my patients, it's like their symptoms they come out at the weirdest times in their lives. They're like, oh, I had this thing happen. And it's kind of like almost like a giving up time or a change where they got hurt. And then out of this, somehow apparently not, symptoms that have nothing to do with it, some different disease shows up. In fact, I had that conversation with someone today, and I was just like, this is not a coincidence. So how do we go back? Because the COVID-19 pandemic is something new. And it's hard. Sometimes we tell people you can actually change the way you go through this. You can change your outcome. And then, some people don't always hear that easily, but how can we go about doing that, so that we can get on the other side of this?
Well, here's the interesting thing, that I was changing my outcome the minute I was imagining walking my little boy into kindergarten. I felt better in that I couldn't get my head off. It hadn't changed my conditions yet, but I felt better in the moment. And why having a vision for your life or goal for your life, or I like the term dream. Because pretty much we know how to accomplish goals. We may not be doing it. We may
Yeah.
not get ourselves to do the thing that we say we're going to do, but you do know what to do. The difference between a goal and a dream is you don't actually know how to create that. You would love it, but you don't know how to do it. So create a dream. There's an art and a science to dream building, not just dreaming. Lots of people dream.
Right.
They don't understand the science of turning that vibration into their results. So the vision part is blueprinting. It's like, what would I love? And that's a really important question to ask yourself privately. You and you. What would I really love? Because humans manifest results in 4 different arenas of life. You could build many subsets under these 4 main areas, but you don't get to not have health results. You just keep breathing and you're going to have health results.
Yeah.
You will create relationship results. You could be a hermit and that's your relationship results. You could have a beautiful connection with someone. You will generate relationship results with your children, your coworkers, your community, and you will have relationship results in a human experience. And you will create results with whatever you do with your time and talent, whether you earn income doing it or not. You will have results in what you do with your time and talent. Use it, misuse it, don't use it, and you'll create results. And you will create results in this thing called freedom, how free in life you are, how free you are able to go where you want to go and do what you want to do and contribute to what you really want to contribute, or how contained and constricted you are. And all we have to do right now is take a moment and look at our current results in health and relationships and vocation. Whether you earn income or not, you're doing something with your time and talent, and how free you are.
Yeah.
And some of us find ourselves really robust and even wealthy in one arena, like our career, but bankrupt or not so fulfilled in our health or relationships or money. And so there's a way to design a life, but everything's created twice. It has to be created in mind first for you to even know how to, and then as you put it on as an imaginal life, there's a vibration to it. There's a vibratory signature to it. So think about our wonderful system here. We have a brain, a binary brain. The connection part is the corpus callosum. There's a fluid that goes around the brain and up and down the spinal cord. You don't get to not think. Nobody does.
Right.
Every thought has a frequency to it. That electrical pulse communes and communicates with the fluid. It goes up and down the spinal cord, and it sends that vibration to every muscle, every cell, every tissue, every fiber, every organ, and it doesn't stop with your skin. So we're in a sea of energy. So without a dream that you intelligently designed where I would love my life to be like, I don't have no idea how to do that. It's okay. Don't start with how. Start with what. And that's something every one of us can do now. We don't have to wait till COVID-19 is gone. And there is a health in that, because it gives your energy something to begin to move around in. And don't just rush to knowing what you really, really want. This is a process, and you have some time now, most of us right now, to really go deep. What you would really love will speak to you through 2 ways: longing and discontent. So if you really get close to yourself, you say, what are those secret longings I've been feeling? You don't have to tell anybody about them, but know yourself. What if I long? What are my longings? Where am I discontented? Am I tired of not having the money to do the things I really want, or not enough time to really what are my longings? What are my discontents? And then what would I love? What's the life I would love? Maybe what if it took 3 years or 2 years or even a year, but design it for about 3 years from now. What would I love my life to be like that would answer my longings and dissolve my discontent? What would that life be like? You'll have part of you telling you why you can't have it. Because
right.
we live in This world called time and space exists through the law of polarity. The way the way I know and you know right now that you're alive is because you have the idea of dead.
Right.
The way we know we feel good is we know what it feels like to not feel good. So through contrast, we have the human experience. And like Joan said, our brain is always looking for a similar experience to make sense of our current experience or current reality. So
it's interesting because Talia, the other day after she watched your event, she's like, I want to make a vision board, because for her, that was her way of doing it. And the craziest thing was, we have very similar things. She like found the most beautiful house I've ever seen in my entire life, but she has this vision board and now she just keeps going to it every day. And I've already seen her shift in just even her enjoyment of school, and this, like for me, I'm like free time. And she's just like, this is boredom time. And it's totally changed her just by thinking of what she wants down the road.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, I'm grateful.
So where do we go? I mean, so we have our, the discontent and the longing. How do we, like, one of the things that really struck me when I first saw you speak was, you're like, when our group gets together in the following year, what do you want to be doing? And don't just think about it from a perspective of like what you want to do, but kind of like why you want to be doing it. And then you're like, well, what about like, if, maybe you want to have flexibility to stand up and kneel down on the floor. Well, why do you want to do that? Maybe you want to be down on the floor with your grandkids. And then you say, well, but when you accomplish that, what will the emotion be? And start feeling that now. And that just blew my mind. Like, I was hoping you could talk a little bit more and share a bit more about how we envision the dream, but then we actually build it.
Part of that is the science of it. You can't get to, scientifically, you can't get to a dream. You have to come from it. The easiest way for me to describe this is you're sitting and watching your television and you've got CNN on. Problem, difficulties, stories of fear. It's broadcasting 24/7. Prior to the pandemic, CNN is the largest broadcast channel on our whole planet, because we have this part of us that thinks if we see what could possibly go wrong, somehow we're safer. But you're on CNN and you are tired of CNN and you want discovery. And you've heard about this place called Discovery Channel. You could go anywhere in the world and it's beautiful, and you've got, or romance, you want the romance channel, but you keep tuned to CNN. In your room, right where you are, there's all these vibrations of that you could go to, but you have to change the frequency. Otherwise, you're always chasing it. So you can't get to once you dream a dream, or once you set a really major goal for yourself, for your health, relationship, vocation, time and money, freedom, call it, if you don't like the word dream, call it a major goal. Mm-hmm. But it's always, here's the deal, it's always more than what you actually know how to bring about for it to really be truly life-giving. If you know how to do it, but just aren't doing it, it's another whole matter. So, and the gift of having a dream and then applying a system of transformation to it, which includes allowing yourself to picture it so well that you literally can step inside of it and feel it. Mm. You want a new house? Talia wants a new house. What part of that house would she love most?
Oh,
Is it her bedroom? Does she have her own bathroom? I mean, she's in front of the mirror. She literally, you move inside of it and you feel it as real. I'm walking a little boy into kindergarten. I feel his warm hand in mine. I'm inhabiting the vibration that's aligned with the dream I have to raise that little boy and become a teacher.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And one of the things we've talked about a lot this week is that as the parents, we need to be modeling these behaviors because we have such influence over our kids. But the thing I'm struck with, for me, like, we start working with programs, we know that we need to apply the science that you're talking about. And then my brain says there's there's a, well, maybe I shouldn't do that today, or I'm a little too busy today, maybe tomorrow. But Talia goes right away and does it, like immediately.
Well, here's the
So,
thing. You are busy. And those two are not opposed to one another. Tom can be the guy who is coming from helping his daughter being the guy that's in the guy who's got this great medical career, who is the detective. You can be that guy while your circumstances are not yet congruent with the vibration of what it is that you're bringing into existence. The more you come from that vibration, the more consistently the molecular structure of all things, there are, think about it. Thomas Edison did not invent electricity. He invented the system by which we could use that invisible law and bring light wherever we want to the world. That, just think about it, just a little over 100 years ago, if somebody said to you, there's these, we can move these little things we could move through, and and then you could light up a house, and people go, whoa, that's woo woo.
no way. Right. Yeah, talk about woo woo.
And that's not that long ago in our human species. We are, tens of thousands of years. Some people say 150, some say 250,000 years in our evolution to this point. And not understanding that the thoughts we think have huge impact in our health, in our ability to have a life we love living. And there's a major dominant frequency that every single one of us operates in. You think about your computer, whatever your interface is that you're using to be in this call tonight. That's not the operating system that's in that isn't the only possible operating system. You could install a new operating system when it comes along that's more liberal making, more memory, more faster processing. It's not different here.
Mm-hmm.
We have an operating system. And for many of us, it's I get to do something when the conditions tell me I can. And there's another way to operate, and start with your dream. Get to know its vibration, put it on imaginally, and don't do it perfectly. You will not do it perfectly, nor do you need to do it perfectly. It's an endeavoring process. You just keep returning to that frequency. And if this were happening in my life, how would I feel today? What would I be saying today? I can promise you the person who is living your dream, when they're at the kitchen sink, washing dishes or doing mundane things, they're not thinking, oh my God, I'm so stuck. How long am I going to be stuck? This is really awful. You're not thinking those thoughts. So every time you catch yourself in a thought pattern that's out of alignment with what you would really want in life, you have a way in which you just say, I can think that thought, or I can think another thought. And in the same way you change your frequency on your television, I've got my smartphone sitting here. It's turned off right now. But out of all the possibilities in the universe, well, let's say all the possibilities of people on this planet, billions of them, there's a certain frequency that Mary types in, and it's my husband. And I know that frequency.
Right.
It's a desired outcome. So I get to know that frequency, and it's a preset. So your dream, make your dream a preset vibration, the same way you have a preset on your television or a preset in your car. Let it become a favorite frequency for you.
Interesting.
And you'll start to think different thoughts. Certain things will start to show up. There's surprise. As people say, it just came out of the blue. Have you ever asked yourself the question, where is the blue? Right here. It's just not at this frequency. It's at this frequency.
Well, it's that awareness I think Joan was talking about too. And it's so one of the questions that I hear a lot of, and I try to be on a positive frequency, and sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, but is with all of this COVID, a lot of people with that struggle to say, hey, I don't necessarily want to dream and think it's going to be better later on, because I'm not focusing on what bad is happening now. But what I just heard you say was, you can be in whatever state you're in and you still fully participate now, but that frequency out in the future, the dream you're building, you're also keeping it because it's a preset. That's your freak, you know, that's sort
Yeah,
of your
I was in a bed.
default.
Remember, I'm in a bed in an intensive care ward.
Hmm.
I'm starting to imagine holding my little boy's hand walking into kindergarten.
But you weren't going, I'm not sick. I don't have a kidney
Oh, no,
problem.
no. Thank you for making that distinguishment. This has zero to do with denying circumstances or conditions that are current. The idea that there's a part of us that can begin to inhabit the world of what we would love while we're dealing with the exact things that we're dealing with. There's no
Yeah.
denial in this. There's an understanding that you exist on more than one level.
I think that that's the thing that we all need to be hearing now, because you know, and I wonder what your feelings are about, like, to me, like, I like to be fully present, and I don't want to dive into I mean, I always find it's a little hard to say the right words, but you know, it's like, I don't want to deny what's happening right now, but I don't want to get so enveloped in it that I actually miss sort of more of the reality of it, and get out of the present moment and out of the totality of me. Because then as a physician, like, I did a lot of critical care work. If I was all in my head, I couldn't actually function well. And so I'm just wondering how that plays a role, like, you know, our current thought patterns, and then changing them with this future frequency.
Your dream for your life, Tom, has those four elements to it. Your
Hmm.
dream for your health, your relationships, your vocation. And I imagine that in your dreams, you are all the wonderful things you are about a physician now and more. That
Right.
the part of you that longed to be a physician, that comes to the full front of how you are as a physician. Every one of us is a growing being. So without an idea of, if I were the next level of me while I'm with people who are suffering, if I were at the next level of who I could become as a physician, that's your dream. If that's going to be your future
Right.
career and your future vocation, and I imagine it is. So it's
Yeah.
not an either or. This is very important for us. It's a yes and. Yes, I'm in these conditions. Yes, right now I've got what it is that we're dealing with, every one of us. And there's a part of me right now that's more than the conditions I'm in. And that's an important
Mm.
discovery that lots of people, and sadly most humans, live and die and never find out.
Yeah. And I find myself thinking, as you're saying that, like, and, you know, thinking, like, what I can be for my daughter, and all of us as children, as leaders. And I actually, and I think I just said it earlier with Talia, with her vision board, she became a different human being immediately by doing that. And I'm just thinking, like, if I have the dream of who I want to be as this, you know, dream built ideal parent, I'm going to walk out of this when we're all done tonight and go be more of that person than I was when I walked in this room.
That's awesome.
So Mary, I appreciate all your time. Is there something that, like, you're really dying for everyone to know about COVID-19 and what to do? And I know that you told me you were going to share something super special with everybody. So I was hoping you could tell us about that, and tell us kind of, like, is there anything as we close down things tonight, and our series, you know, where do we need to be going? Or is there, like, a little rocket boost to what you were just telling us about making our dreams come true?
Well, the first place anything becomes true is inside us. And so this is just, I mean, there's no denying that this is an extremely challenging and uncertain time in all of our lives. And regardless of whether we currently have it or will have it or have had it or our children, it's extremely uncertain.
Mm.
So it helps when in very rocky, turbulent times to stand on something that you can be certain about. And that is, right now we're breathing, right now, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain, I'm sure you teach breath work too, Tom, but there's a kind of
Absolutely.
breath that helps us move from the sympathetic fight, flight, freeze way of being in this moment. And it can happen subtly where you don't even realize you're in it. So do the thing you can do. We're all following certain practices, no matter what state or country you live in. So you're all in this world, so you know what to do. Do the thing you can do. But there's another thing you could add to that, and that is that you can be in a hurricane and there's a place of peace right in the center of it. You can be in a hurricane on the ocean and the water and the waves are tumultuous. Go down deep enough and there's a place of peace. Way down deep, it's still. So whatever your practices are, to be able to stand on the firm of knowing, I've got this moment. And when fear wants to take you all kinds of places, it's not happening right now. I'm still breathing. So I'm going to use this moment well. Yes, all that can happen. If it does, I'll deal with it then. It's not happening right now. For all of us on this call tonight, we're healthy enough to be here. Look at you. Look at you.
Hi.
Hi.
I had somebody who asked very politely if she could stop in and say hello.
Hi, Talia. Nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
I hear you're a dream builder now.
Yes.
And,
We were talking about your vision board. Did you? Oh, you're watching, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you joined us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Tom. I really appreciate
Yeah.
being here.
And well, thank you for coming, Mary. And everyone, Mary has been on, I think, like 80 billion different events recently, helping to uplift the vibration of the world and giving so much to everyone else. And she has a gift. Could you remind me the title? Because I almost remember the name, but it's so perfect.
Stronger than circumstances.
Oh, nice. And you were talking about, standing firm while the ground is shaking,
yes.
right?
Oh, yes, I do have that gift for you. It's something I created just recently for, yes, thank you for reminding me that. It's a 30-day gift from me. And the first 5 days are the tools to be able to stand firm when your world is shaking. And they really are tools for traversing life's toughest terrain. You don't need this when everything's going really well. But these tools for how to be and how to have this time without this time having you are inside those free trainings. So there's 5 days of about 30 minutes a day training, and then a 30-day process that follows that where I give you a video each day to help you be in a mindset. You're going to be in a mindset. You don't get to not be in a mindset, and there's a frequency to the mindset you're in. So that it's 30 days of supporting you having a mindset where you can be in the midst of things without having them completely take you down. It'll really help you. Okay.
It's so good. And everyone, I mean, I put the link in the chat. We're going to send you out that and some of the other information about Mary's programs. I'll send everyone in the replays. And so just so amazingly inspirational. And, I've been studying this kind of sort of self-help stuff for a long time, but the thing that really stands out to me is not only does it resonate with myself and my family, but it's so actionable. And it innately, when you start doing it, you know that this is truth, so it's not like, I have to believe that this thing, it's like, it's the ancient science because you can feel it. And so.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much, Mary, for making the time for all of us. And everyone, thank you so much for making the time to join us. This has been a very inspirational week for me. And I know Talia but I'm serious, Talia has been exposed to Joan's work and Dr. Song's work and Katie Kimball's work and so many of the other people. And she knows Darren because Darren and I hang out a lot, but it is amazing to me that when I mentioned last night, Talia said when the whole pandemic started, Daddy, we need to keep our minds calm because if our brains are going crazy, we can't think rationally or scientifically. And so we spent our time, had a little extra TV time. We threw on The Secret. We threw on Mary's program, which I said, I'll get that over to everyone. In addition to this new program, which is crazy to me because Mary, I realized when I was watching some of it today that you actually just created this for this pandemic.
I did.
And the last day is the last video is not even out yet. I think Jessica said it comes out tomorrow. So
Yes.
this is seriously unbelievable what the gift you've given the world. But for me, it's just, you know, all I can say is what it feels like in my heart and in my family. And to have your daughter dream building at 10 and vision boards and just, I mean, it's just amazingly inspirational. And I think Dr. Darren just said Talia's a Jedi in training. The reality is, I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm speaking to Yoda. I've got her, you know, Padawan trainee, and I'm like the person who's following up behind Talia, having Talia lead the way. So enjoy your time, everyone, with your families. You know, when you're scared or, you know, reach out to the resources that we're going to be sending you, and the Jones book and all of Mary's amazing work. This is a time that we're all going to get through together, and it's different. We've never been through it, but together we're going to be able to take care of all of that stuff. And I'm just so unbelievably thankful, Mary,
Thank
that
you.
you're here with us.
Thank you for having me. Take care, Talia. Keep dream building, okay?
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us for the past 3 nights. Just so everyone has a quick summary, we are going to be putting this up tonight and last night, or on YouTube. Last night will come down pretty soon. Then tonight will be up for about another day, and so we can share with everyone. But anyone that you love and care about, please have them sign up on the link, the originsofhealth.com/coronavirus-mini-series. And that way, not only will you and all of them get the replays sent directly to you, we're going to be sending you a whole bunch of the resources that we've talked about throughout the week, including Mary's gift, as well as some additional ones too. So thank you so much again, and be on the lookout for the replay, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.